Today we are going to explain the recently released movie Shaman, directed by American director Antonio Negret. In this movie, a missionary family in rural Ecuador faces a terrifying clash of fate when their son unleashes an ancient demonic spirit from a forbidden cave. This R-rated supernatural thriller explores cultural tension and personal beliefs. So let's start the actual story of the movie. At the beginning we see a young girl named Rosa being baptized. The ceremony was conducted by Father Mayer, and other members of the Christian community were also present. Among them was a couple named Joel and Candice who had recently moved from the city. They congratulated Rosa on her baptism. Joel and Candice also had a son named Elliot who was playing with his friends Thomas and Raul. While playing, Elliot's toy airplane went inside an old cave. He wanted to go in and get it, but Raul and Thomas stopped him, saying that the cave was dangerous because some evil power lived there. Elliot ignored them and entered the cave. He managed to get his plane, but suddenly he noticed the shadow of an unknown person. He ignored it and tried to come back, but a shaman grabbed his hand. Elliot got very scared and tried to run away. He escaped, but his wristwatch fell inside the cave. Later we see that Father Mayer along with Joel and Candice were preaching Christianity to the villagers. They were teaching them about specific practices and worship methods, but the villagers already had their own faith and beliefs. That night Joel and Candice arranged a party for the villagers because the next day their son Elliot was going to have his confirmation ceremony. Confirmation is the next step after baptism, where people consciously accept the Christian faith and officially commit themselves. Candice told Elliot that tomorrow would be a very important day for him and encouraged him to accept it happily. She also told him to wear his grandfather's wristwatch to church, but Elliot felt sad because the watch was still in the cave. He had not told his parents about it. When his parents went to their room to sleep, Elliot secretly left the house and went to the cave to get his watch. He was scared but determined. Inside the cave he saw an evil face mask and slaughtered black-skinned animals which looked like they were used for some ritual. Suddenly he felt insects crawling on his body and his waist twisted unnaturally. Elliot fell unconscious inside the cave. The next morning Joel and Candice realized Elliot was missing. They searched the entire house but could not find him. Candice told Joel not to tell the villagers anything and to say Elliot had abdominal pain. She went out searching and asked his friends. At first Raul said nothing but then confessed that Elliot had gone to the old cave. Candice rushed there and met the same old shaman who worshipped evil spirits. She asked about Elliot and the shaman told her that Elliot had fainted last night and he had taken him home. Although she was afraid, she followed the shaman to his house and found her son there. She was very happy, but the shaman warned her not to take Elliot away yet. Candice ignored him and took Elliot with her. On the way to church they met an old village woman who congratulated Elliot for his confirmation, but when she looked closely at him she immediately told them to leave. Candice was confused and asked why, but the old woman refused to explain and just kept saying to stay away. It seemed as if she had seen some invisible evil entity inside Elliot. Candice ignored her and quickly reached the church. During the ceremony a scorpion appeared on Elliot's body which shocked Candice. She also noticed Elliot staring at her in a strange way. After the ceremony people were curious about why Elliot was late, so Candice lied and said he had abdominal pain. Everyone left but she remained worried. Meanwhile the shaman told his assistant that since Elliot's ritual had been broken it was certain that a demonic entity would possess him. The next day they learned that the same old lady who had warned Candice and Elliot had been killed. This made Candice even more worried. At her funeral night Candice checked Elliot's room again but he was missing. She and Joel went out searching and found Elliot unconscious with his body twisted badly. They brought him home and placed him in the bathtub, but when they turned on the shower only dirty black water came out. They were terrified. Suddenly Elliot woke up and started screaming loudly. They quickly put him in bed again. Joel and Candice thought of taking him to a doctor, but the nearest doctor would take 3 days to arrive. They went to Father Mayer because he had medical experience in the past. Meanwhile Candice found a clay idol in her house and suspected that the shaman was behind everything. She believed he was responsible for Elliot's condition. She went to the shaman's house with the idol in her hand. The shaman was performing a ritual to heal a woman's joint pain, so she spoke to his assistant instead. She accused the shaman of hurting her son, but the assistant said they had done nothing wrong and that only the shaman could treat Elliot. Candice did not trust him. Soon the news spread in the village that Elliot was possessed by an evil ritual and that was why he was late at his confirmation. On her way back home Candice met Rosa. Rosa criticized her for lying that day because their faith teaches them not to lie, but Candice did not respond and silently walked home. Candice also tells tells Joel that everything happening with Elliot is because of the shaman as he performed an evil ritual. But Joel does not believe her. He says these are just useless things with no reality. However, with the passage of time, Elliot's condition kept getting worse. The shocking thing was that whenever Joel and Candice prayed for Elliot, he would feel even more pain. While his parents were praying, Elliot suddenly started coughing and vomited blood clots. Even some of his teeth fell out. This terrified them, and immediately Candice and Joel went to Father Mayer to explain the whole situation. Father Mayer came to their home and checked Elliot. His body temperature was very low and he was behaving strangely with the father. When he shook hands with Father Mayer, Elliot refused to let go. Then in a demonic tone, Elliot spoke to Father Mayer saying that he could reveal everything he had done till now and even what he was about to do next. Hearing this, the father became nervous and started sweating heavily. He quickly stepped out of the room and told Joel and Candice that Elliot had indeed been affected by an evil ritual. Now Joel also began to understand. Candice begged Father Mayer to perform the exorcism and save her son, but the father explained that they first needed preparation and special permission from the church. Candice was ready to do anything and also convinced Joel to allow the exorcism. When Father Mayer stepped out of the house, he encountered the shaman who told him that he would not be able to cure Elliot through exorcism and that only his ritual could save him. According to him, the evil power possessing Elliot was far stronger than their God. But Father Mayer had unshakable faith in Jesus and was sure he could succeed, so he refused to believe the shaman. He then began preparing for the exorcism and punished himself in order to wash away his sins. The next day, Father Mayer came for the exorcism. At the same time, Rosa also came to Candice's house to ask why she had not attended English class. But when she saw Father Mayer there, she grew suspicious and quietly left without reacting. Soon the exorcism began. As Father Mayer started his prayers, the evil spirit immediately took control of Elliot, making the prayers ineffective. In fact, Elliot called Father Mayer a liar and attacked him. The entity declared that it was even older than the Father's Jesus and that his God could not harm it. Blood started flowing from Elliot's eyes like tears, and with his gaze he shattered a mirror. Still, Father Mayer continued praying and forcefully drew a cross symbol on Elliot's forehead. This calmed him down, and the father thought the spirit had left Elliot's body. But in reality, the spirit was only quiet for a while. Believing the exorcism was complete, Father Mayer and Candice felt relieved. Just then, the shaman and his assistant arrived. The shaman handed Candice a herbal root to ease Elliot's pain. He also revealed that he had not performed any ritual on Elliot, but instead, an ancient evil power residing in the cave had possessed him, and it would not easily let him go. He warned them that if they believed Father Mayer's exorcism had worked, then they were mistaken. Saying this, he left. That night, Candice went into Elliot's room but found him missing. She rushed outside with a torch to look for him. Meanwhile, Father Mayer saw a shadow. When he looked closely, it was Elliot wearing a mask. Elliot ordered him to recite his prayers and began lashing him. Though the father prayed, it had no effect. Elliot then removed his mask, revealing his blood-filled eyes. Soon, blood tears also started flowing from Father Mayer's own eyes, and shortly after, Elliot killed him. Later, Rosa arrived and was horrified to find Father Mayer's body. She informed the villagers. At Father Mayer's funeral, the villagers blamed Candice, saying all of this was happening because of her son Elliot. She lied to them again, insisting nothing was wrong with Elliot, though she knew well that the evil entity inside her son had killed Father Mayer. The next day in church, Candice saw Elliot again, but he was still possessed. Elliot attacked Candice, and during their struggle, a burning candle fell unnoticed. Joel appeared, and Elliot ran away. Candice then went straight to the shaman's house, where she found Elliot's socks. Angrily, she confronted the shaman, but he explained that in the cave lived a dirty evil spirit named Soobay, who had possessed Elliot. Still, Candice refused to believe him. Joel tried to calm the situation, but suddenly, loud screams came from the villagers. The church had caught fire, and the people were shocked, questioning Joel and Candice's faith. That night, Elliot again became fully possessed and attacked his father Joel, questioning his beliefs and faith. Joel was badly injured and needed his inhaler, but Elliot threw it away. Suddenly, Candice appeared and protected Joel, but the scene cut there. The next morning, Joel was injured and lying on the bed when Rosa visited. Candice asked her about the evil spirit Soobay, but Rosa instead questioned her beliefs and religion harshly. This angered Candice, and she slapped Rosa, who then warned her that if she and her family did not leave the village by tomorrow, they would face serious consequences. The next day, Candice took Elliot to the shaman for an exorcism. The shaman, along with his assistant, led them into the cave and began the ritual. His assistant explained that the evil entity could not be destroyed, but they could try bargaining with it to stop the possession. They had already prepared rats and hamsters for this purpose. During the ritual, Elliot admitted that he had been the one who killed Father Mayer. Blood was flowing from his eyes, and then the shaman made Candice and himself drink a liquid that transported them into another world. They began moving through different parts of the village like churches, valleys, and other mysterious places. A fierce battle took place between the entity and the shaman. Gradually, the power of the entity began to fade, but the scene ended there. The scene shifts back to the cave, where everyone was lying unconscious. Slowly, Candice wakes up and looks at her son, hugging him with love. But in the very next moment, the shaman also wakes up, and now the situation had completely changed. The evil spirit Soobay had possessed the shaman himself, and his behavior became extremely strange. The shaman first picks up a stone and kills his own assistant. Then, shockingly, he kills himself as well. But Soobay doesn't leave. It abandons the shaman's body and once again possesses Elliot. Now Elliot, under Soobai's control, picks up a stone and is about to kill Candice. In that moment, Candice remembers what the assistant had told her earlier. She immediately tries to negotiate with Soobay, offering herself instead. She begs the spirit to leave her son and possess her body instead, but Soobay refuses. It says it doesn't want to take over adults, it wants children, so it can raise them in its own dark way. However, it agrees that if another child is offered in Elliot's place, it will release him. Horrified but desperate, Candice rushes out of the cave. There she sees a little boy named Thomas. Without thinking twice, she brings him inside and offers him to Soobay as a barter in exchange for Elliot. The spirit accepts and immediately possesses Thomas. At that very moment, Raul enters the cave. When he sees Thomas now possessed, he panics and runs away in terror. In the final scene, we see Candice, Joel and Elliot leaving the village forever, hoping to escape the horrors they had faced. And that was the story of the movie Shaman. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, and if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. Thank you.